If 2020 hasn't woke you up, then 2021 definitely will. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer in the age of believing. No, sir. No, ma'am. But from Pisces to Aquarius, we are officially in the age of the knowing. So, do you know thyself? Or are you still soul searching? And don't worry, it's no right or wrong answer to this question. And do you know why? Because there is no such thing as right or wrong, but thinking it makes it so, to a degree. And in today's video, I like to talk about that to a degree part. After all, there is not a truth existing which I fear or would I wish unknown to the world. So if you're a truth seeker or a free thinker, welcome to the House of Donald. Now let's get it. I would rather have questions that cannot be answered than answers that cannot be questioned. And if you're anything like me, you question things because you can never be a product of your environment, no matter how much this corporation, country, wanted you to go with the narrative that they wrote out for you. Therefore, you were always able to think for yourself, even during the age of technology. So while everybody else was following trends and mimicking online personas, you were one of the few that knew because of the internet, we were drowning in a sea full of information, but only few strive for what we like to call knowledge, since we know if it isn't popular, nobody cares to listen. And if you ask me, popular culture is depressing, promotes self-destruction, and is helping to create a generation of sick, mindless, vulnerable human beings. Like, some people are so poor nowadays, all they have is money. And sadly, many aren't even able to understand what I mean by that. Because the thing about smart people is, we seem crazy to dumb peoples. And FYI, if you feel insulted by this statement, well, if the shoe fits, wear it. Anyways, in my eyes, most conspiracy theorists and whistleblowers aren't only necessary in this day and age, but they help you think outside the box, since they are really just self-claimed journalists that are attempting to expose the real issues in this country, which are the same issues the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about. After all, they help some of these issues hide in plain sight. With that being said, if you fail to look beyond the constructed images that the mainstream media feeds us, then your consciousness can become easily manipulated. So know this, the truth is the truth even if no one believes it, and a lie is a lie even if everyone believes it. And if you're a truth seeker, always go with your gut feeling, even if you find yourself cutting off everybody that you once knew, because you know once you know what you know, you can't unknow it. Excuse me, things almost got a little personal. Anyways, as you can see, I got 99 problems, and being trapped in a decaying body in a money-hungry society on a dying planet in a mysterious dimension just may be one. And since I recognize illusions as illusions, projects as projects, I question if America is one big social experiment. Because the issue today is the same as it has been throughout history, and that is if man shall be allowed to govern himself or be ruled by a small class elite. And since wolves normally do not concern themselves with the opinions of sheep, allow me, ThisDonnie, the man with the plan, to tell you, the viewer who might not know, that awareness is only half the battle, but he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. So you trying to be mighty or what? Because sometimes the hardest part about waking up a person to the truth is first convincing them that they are still asleep. Now, I'm not saying you ain't woke, but I am asking, who made the phrase woke a thing to begin with? Because on my channel, we question things like that, since individuals like me were already conscious before we knew it was an online community and people's or memes going around telling others to stay woke. Like, what does that mean anyways? Because, well, excuse my French, but I don't care to be a flat earther or a Hebrew Israelite. I also don't care to be an Anunnaki descendant or a black king. So if being woke means I have to claim a group or title to function in modern society, then I can care less to wake up. Since I know myself enough to know I went by many names throughout history, because words cannot describe what I am, but I am that I am, which is the modern Haru. Here to tell you that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. After all, some of us are the titans living like mere humans. You see, the problem is we have been made to believe that there is a coming savior, so we became passive. But this witchcraft ends today if you're watching this video as a truth seeker or a free thinker. So listen up. You are a spirit. Once you analyze that, then you will understand how abracadabra works. The spiritual realm created the material world, so don't worry about what you don't have. All you need is to speak a word, command. The spirit world responds only to utter words, be it emotionally or mentally. God's ruled by command, not by soliciting. So, who among us has fallen under the spell of the mass media? Because you gods and goddesses can either sit down and complain about how the world is corrupt and evil, or you can rise up and change the situation. It's that simple. Especially if you know our world and the life contained within it has become nothing more but a science experiment for the same psychopaths and criminals that got many of us looking at everything backwards and upside down. So we live in a time and day where doctors seem to destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, universities destroy knowledge, governments destroy freedom, and the media destroys information, which is all backwards and upside down when you really think about it. And since these monsters created many lies that drowns out the truth, making it possible for only few to find it, we live in a world where real dangers are downplayed and non-existent ones are spoken about as if they are actual factors. And in a reality based on the deception of our perception, logic is easily and often used against us. And sadly, sometimes people do not want to hear this truth simply because they do not want their beliefs destroyed. But the truth of the matter is, the elite sees us as disposable creatures who prefer to believe what we are told than to trust our own reason or perception. Ignorance is a dangerous thing, my friend. So hurry up and open up your eyes. The entire world around you is nothing but lies, and fake history is what you were taught on purpose, because the greatest enemy isn't ignorance but the illusion of knowledge. With that said, the best education is self-education. So do your own homework and think for yourself. Trust your heart, because education without values, as useful as it is, seems to rather make man a more clever devil. Therefore, man's laws change throughout time with his understanding of men. Only the laws of spirit always remains the same. So observe, look between the cracks, through the smoke and beyond the obvious. Truth shines through. And well, the truth is stranger than fiction, but you have to care enough to see the truth, because the truth has always been right in front of us. And I personally feel like we need more people who are capable of staring into the abyss of darkness without falling in or losing their light. Because once you are at the point of knowing good and evil are relative, evil suddenly becomes an illusion. And deciding what's right and wrong can be confusing the deeper you go down this rabbit hole. So always know this: the heart needs no explanation. It speaks its own language we all quietly understand. But with that said, it is time to think like an occultist, because the powers that be are after your life, your soul, your very essence. And as one of your ancestors, I hope I can help you open up your eyes enough to realize this world is full of lies due to that. And the elite understand the power of those lies. For an example, they know the best way to control an individual is to control the crowd, since most individuals will never drift too far from the crowd and will likely believe what most people believe, aka the popular opinion. So it's best to know a percentage of the peoples in your daily life are possessed because they are a part of the crowd. And if you refuse to learn about the occult at this point, then you're possessed as well. Because this isn't about how much you know. This is about how much do you want to know. So I'm reaching out to those who consider themselves students and teachers at the same time, since they have the ability to teach and still learn. Because what was once Allison in Wonderland has now become the House of Donald. And if you look at me as your equal, then you're welcome here. Mi casa, su casa. With that said, I hope someday you realize This world holds more mystery than you could ever possibly imagine. Just in case you don't see me as your equal for having the nerve to think outside the box. Like, you might be thinking to yourself, how do I know what I know? Well, I read. And hardly anyone takes the time to read a book anymore, and yet the average American spends about 5 hours a day watching television. Anyways, the point of the matter is, some of us know this information because it was written. And what was written will come to pass. What was foretold will unfold. So no more pretending like you don't know. Especially if you got this far into the video. Especially if you're the type to always stand by the truth, no matter the outcome, no matter the consequences, even if you find yourself standing alone. Since you know many peoples have a natural tendency to want to disbelieve unpleasant or frightening truths. And if you're anything like me, you always sort of been a black sheep because you sought out the truth no matter the outcome. So I hope you can take something away from this video, because you're not crazy for noticing the fact that history has a funny way of repeating itself, as if someone is carefully studying the population reaction. With that said, until we meet again, the real revolution begins by going within. ThisDonnie, signing out.